Welcome to the course description for Ready or Not, a summer professional development session that I'll be offering through the NASA ERC at IVNV and Fairmont State University. So I'm going to give you a sort of brief overview to what OER is and what we'll be doing in the course, and hopefully this will answer some questions. Open educational resources are usually online, but not exclusively, and they're materials that allow you to retain, reuse, revise, remix, and redistribute, the 5 R's of OER. What this means is it's not just a website that you can look at. It's something that you can take, and it's licensed in a way that not only allows but encourages you to do things with it, to make it specific to your situation and make it work for you and your students. There's been a big push for OER in higher education as a response to higher textbook costs. This has really become an equity issue in higher education, and OER is one of the ways that they're looking to address this. But I would argue we have our own issues with textbooks in K-12. I've been in districts where the adoption cycle is as long as 7 years. And the books that we got when they were new were the ones that were being discontinued by the publisher. So they were already 4 years old when they were new to us. That's maybe more of a concern in a science discipline than in another area. But regardless, those books weren't written with my students in mind. Most textbooks in this country are written for the large markets of Texas and California, for example, that have statewide adoptions in large population areas. So they're tailored to fit the needs and wants of those big areas. They're designed to be generic and homogeneous. And they have little accommodation typically. And when I say accommodation, I'm not just meaning those IEP accommodations that are critical. I also mean little accommodations for what my students were interested in, what their experiences were, what they had knowledge in. So there's some things about textbooks that aren't great that OER can address. It's not just free materials. It allows you and your students to engage with and rework what you are learning to suit you. This is often titled Open Education Practices, or OEP. These are the things that OER allows you to do. Taking your text, some generic OER text, and making it local is so exciting to me. At the younger grades, this could be as simple as, if you're doing a lesson on the water cycle, having your students go out and take pictures of their creek or during a rainstorm and bring that into the book. That then becomes something that they can pass on to the next group of students that will be in your classroom. They know they have an authentic audience who's going to inherit their work. And then that next class sees what the people before them have done and how they can improve it. At older grade levels, this is a cool opportunity to bring in problem-based learning where students identify a real issue in their community, and they come up with a way to solve it while still learning disciplinary content and bringing that understanding that they're gaining about whatever subject it is that they're learning to these real problems that they are experiencing. So in the class, we're going to talk about OER and OEP a lot, but we're also going to talk about some theories of learning that are particularly appropriate to these. And the 3 that we're going to focus on are communities of practice, third space, and funds of knowledge. Communities of practice comes out of the study of apprenticeship programs, where what you're learning is not just knowledge to be had. It is becoming a new person, taking on a new identity. And a lot of times our students aren't necessarily becoming scientists or becoming mathematicians in our classes. They're becoming science students, or they're becoming math students. And then when it comes time for them to get into the real world, it's a challenging gap to go from just being a really good student to being a good XYZ, whatever it is that they want to become. So finding ways that we can make K-12 education look more authentic is definitely something that can be accomplished through OER and OEP. Third space and funds of knowledge are kind of related. Third space is the idea that your formal education, which is the first space, doesn't always overlap or talk nicely with second space, which is all the learning that students do outside of school. Their space is the intentional integration of those two, which is something that can be accomplished through OER and OEP. And it sort of draws on funds of knowledge, which is just the idea that everyone has rich understandings from their lived experiences. It pushes back on these sort of deficit narratives that we sometimes see in schools, particularly when we're talking about things like learning loss due to COVID. Yes, there were challenges last school year, but there were also the kids lived through a pandemic. They got to see their parents work at home and be more a part of that world than maybe they had in the past. They had a rich set of experiences throughout the course of the year. It wasn't like time stopped functioning. So I'm not saying that there aren't issues around COVID learning loss. I'm just saying let's also take a look at all the things that have been gained through living through a really challenging, traumatic time. Okay, if you're still listening, you're probably still on board with this. So here's a little bit more of the details of the course. If you go to bit.ly/OERSYL, the OER does need to be capitalized. There's links in the descriptions below. That's where you can find the syllabus, and that has all of the schedule information in it. Essentially, the course is made up of 5 modules, which are about 4 hours of work and a 1-hour synchronous meeting, plus roughly 3 months of follow-up. And there will be 5 sessions of follow-up over those 3 months. We're going to use Google Classroom as our LMS, and this is going to be free and open to all. There's no required level of commitment. If you want to pop in and join us for a day, we are happy to have you. If you want to enroll for credit and do the whole thing, that is an option, and that will cost some money to get the credits, but you don't have to by any means. And anywhere in between those two extremes of engagement, we are happy to have you as part of our community. Okay, if you're like really excited and want to get started right away, there are some links here, and this presentation is also linked in the description of some good places to get started and some things you might already be using that are openly licensed and are OER. So you may be more of an expert than you think you are. Okay, by all means, you can head out now. This is just me talking about the light bulb metaphor that I'm using in the slideshow. So one of the places that I taught had that overhead fluorescent lighting that is in just about every school, and it annoyed me. I just didn't enjoy it. One of my students, it would give her migraines or exacerbate the migraine she was having. So I bought a bunch of lamps and I brought them in. And instead of using the overhead lights, we could fine tune how much light was available, what it was illuminating, and it fit our needs. So I'm arguing that OER kind of works the same way. We have the textbook, we have the fluorescent lights, they're there if we need them, but we can find more creative, customizable solutions that work better for us and our students. And I hope to discuss that with you in this course.